Let me dive in with number one on the list today. A lot of spring games of the weekend. We'll cover them all before we're done. Let me start with Florida, though, because there was a lot of buzz kind of coming off this Florida game here. Big crowd in attendance. Mullen made a big push for crowd. Maybe didn't get quite as many as he hoped they might. I think he was pushing to break the record of 60+ thousand. Did get more than 50,000 in attendance, and it sounds like everybody that was there had a lot of fun. And one of the things that you hear from Florida coach Dan Mullen is a desire to take the momentum that was established here this spring and take that with you into the rest of the summer and into the fall. Here is Dan Mullen, a happy Mullen, reacting to the orange and blue game.
I want to keep the energy going. You know, I forget, it was somebody the other day told me, you know, last year, I don't know that we cracked 90,000 in attendance last year. I was here for 4 years, and they also told me that we never were less than that. And so I want to get that back. You know, it's a combination. We're all in this together. You know, it's not just the guys on the field. It is the Gator Nation as a whole getting the program back to where it needs to be, and I want to make sure I thank everybody and let them know how important they are to make that happen.
It's funny, if you watch that Dan Mullen post-game press conference, how much of the time that was spent legitimately, like the first 4 or 5 minutes of the entire discussion before you got into the day for Felipe Franks or really anything else, really that first 4 or 5 minutes almost all spent thanking fans, talking about the atmosphere. A word that gets used a lot by Mullen was fun, wanting to make Florida football fun again, making this really sort of and this is not a, I mean this complimentary, not a criticism, almost making the whole thing into like a spectacle. You know what I'm saying? Come out and see Florida football, see how big this is going to try to be under Dan Mullen here. That was the kind of the push that Florida was going for. Did they accomplish what they set out to in your mind?
I think they definitely did. Now, whether that's good or bad is an opportunity to talk about something another day, but I think this was an extension of everything we've seen from Dan Mullen thus far this spring. I mean, this, you know what it felt like to me, watching it on TV, seeing, I think they had 160 former players actually back on campus for this game. It had like a Major League Baseball All-Star Game vibe to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there was like so many festivities going on, so many other storylines, it was like a Masters Par 3 contest. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't a real game. There wasn't anything real flying around, but it had all the festivities that was kind of trying to get everybody amped back up. And I think he did just that. You know, the numbers weren't in the 90,000s or anything like that, but I think Gators fans were feeling amped on Saturday.
Well, it's funny. We're getting a lot of comments coming in the comments section. Donnie Moore liked what he saw. He says, Mullen's coming for you, Georgia. That was obviously the message that Florida tried to put out there. Roderick Henderson referencing, there were a lot of celebrations. There was like a Duck Goose celebration. Yep. I guess they were allowing the kind of NFL-style choreographed celebrations there. Some people having fun about that. But here's an interesting comment from Greg Steele, who's a big Florida fan. What Greg says, the orange and blue game was a joke. The defense laid down. And the whole game was about fun and games and not improving. Do you agree with the Florida fan here that maybe this was done at the expense of the defense too much for Saturday?
There was a little bit of that to me because there was, and first of all, let's go ahead and cross this bridge because I had a problem with this. Felipe Franks rushed for 63 yards. One of them was on a 60-yard attempt. I don't know if y'all watched it. He was tagged down like 10 yards after he crossed the line of scrimmage. I mean, come on. And Dan Mullen's like, just let him go, you know. And then he punts the ball into the crowd and they do all this. That guy was down a long time ago, that or his knees are taken out from under him and he's probably getting, you know, on a stretcher taken off the field. So I'll cross that bridge with you because I feel like Dan Mullen did look, but how many times have we talked about this? Dan Mullen's an offensive coach. Yeah. That's what Dan Mullen wants to see. He wants the fun, he wants the ball being spread around, he wants everybody kind of up and down. And that's the way, that's the feeling, that's the vibe Dan Mullen brings this. And I'm not trying to come down too hard on Dan Mullen. The bottom line is this. As much as we talk about Saban disciples and Kirby Smart and Jeremy Pruitt and Will Muschamp and Nick Saban, Dan Mullen does it a different way. He's an Urban Meyer guy. He does it to a different, so I'm not saying he's wrong. It's just not like anybody else usually we see inside the SEC. And he wanted to have fun. And we've had a couple of commenters say in the comment section, just happy to see him having fun again. Yeah. Maybe that's what Florida needs.